What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P. the Blunt guy. Hey! And we are back with another One Piece chapter reaction. And y'all know these days I'm always excited every time a new One Piece chapter come out. Today's chapter we are reacting to is chapter 1070, The Most Powerful Beings. Oh boy, now I don't know what this could mean, man. The most powerful beings. What we talking? Now we know Luffy, Gear 5th Luffy is probably looking like a top tier being in the verse. So is they trying to imply that Lucci is up there as well? I don't think so. But yeah, before we get into this chapter, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Also, comment down below your thoughts on the chapter. What did you like? What did you not like about the chapter? You know, what did you get from the chapter? What did I miss? You know, what did I get wrong in this chapter reaction? Because sometimes I miss things. I'm human. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I miss things. So let me know what I might have missed or gotten wrong about this chapter. And follow me on Twitch. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitch. Support my Twitch, right? That's where I do my streaming. And if you want to engage with me in real time, let me know that you disagree with something I say while I'm saying it. Be a part of the Twitch. Make sure you're part of the Twitch. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And join the Discord. Make sure you come be a part of the community. That is where I'm usually the most active at as far as engagement. If you want to become part of a future discussion stream, be part of the Discord. If you want to send me stuff, the Discord is where I usually take priority as far as what I decide to react to. So make sure you are part of the Discord. Anyway, let's get into this chapter. Chapter 1070, The Most Powerful Beings. Now, bruh, you know, last chapter was good. You know, we got the whole clash with Luffy and Rob Lucci. We see the Seraphim, you know, the Seraphim getting involved. Since tomorrow showed up, got dealt with pretty quick. So, you know, now we kind of, I'm assuming we're going to continue where we left off last chapter. So, without any further ado, let's get into the chapter. And we got the cover page. It says chapter 1070, The Most Powerful Beings. We got the Mads group. And it said Germa 66 Cold-Blooded Voyage Volume 27, Promising Scientists Gathering for the Sake of the World and All Mankind. All right, so looking at this cover page, we see Mads in the background. We got like 4 scientists and I want to say, well, it's like 6 people in total, or 7 people in total, right? We got Vegapunk in the middle, right? My man Vegapunk got the blicky. He got the blicky. He like, yo, what's good? My man's got it. My man is holding a rifle right now. And then to the left of Vegapunk, or to the right of Vegapunk, but to the left of what I'm looking, you know, on the left of the cover page, we got Caesar. What looks to be Caesar's. He's real noticeable, right? Like you could tell Caesar the goat horns and the structure of his face, his hair. You could tell that's Caesar. I think you could pretty much tell that's Caesar. To the right of Caesar, or you know, my left, I think, now I don't know for sure who that is, right? I don't know for sure, but I think that might be Queen. I think that might be Queen. Could be wrong. I could be wrong, but you know, I think that might be Queen. You know, because the only scientist that we know of the Queen's the Mads group was Vegapunk, Caesar, Judge, and Queen, right? And there's 4 main scientists right here. And kind of looking at this guy's pants, you know, he got the white and black stripes. We know that Queen wears suspenders, but they're like white and black as well. We also know Queen wears like goggles or sunglasses. This guy has sunglasses as well. I mean, he doesn't really look like Queen. I'm not going to sit here and act like he does, but I'm looking at some of his features though, right? Like that he might share with Queen. And he kind of has like the black lipstick that like Queen has black lipstick. You know, like Queen's lips are black, right? So that the sunglasses, even though they are different sunglasses than the one we see Queen with, he still got on sunglasses, right? Like we know Queen always has on sunglasses. This guy has on earrings, which I don't know if those are, you know, like we never really see Queen with earrings, but the it looked like his earrings make a 8, and Queen suspenders, he does have like a 8 on it, right? He does have like a 8 on his suspenders, but I can't really tell if that's an 8, right? So I don't know who that is, but I'm thinking it could potentially be Queen. The hair, I don't know about the hair. But then when we go to the right of Vegapunk, or Vegapunk's left, right? I think that's Judge. That is Judge. Now that looks like Judge. The hair kind of reminds me of Judge. Now we know we never seen Judge's full on face, but we know Judge always looks angry though. We know Judge always looks angry, and he looks a little pissed off on here as well. So I'm assuming that's Judge. I could be wrong about the Queen and Judge guesses. I know, of course, the one in the middle is Vegapunk. The big head tells it all. It looks exactly like Vegapunk. The guy to the right of Vegapunk looks exactly like Caesar. So it's just the other two. I'm assuming Queen and Judge. That's what I'm assuming. The guy who I don't think is Queen, he doesn't really look a lot like Queen, but I don't know who else he would be. And the other guy, he looks like a younger version of Judge, in my opinion. And then we got some other scientists in the background, right? There's a woman with a rifle, has her head turned. Maybe she's important. Maybe she's an important member of Mads. I don't know. Could it be Stussy? I don't think it's Stussy. I just brought up Stussy because Stussy knows a lot about Egghead Island, so seems like she could have been there. So maybe she has a closer relationship with Vegapunk somehow. I don't know, but the woman does look like she could be somebody important because she's the only one who's, you can't see her face. You know, she's turned. Why did Oda decide to have her back turned to the picture, right? Why did Oda decide that? Maybe because she's not just some random scientist or random person in the scene. Maybe she might be important. So y'all just remember that she might be important. If we learn that Mads had like a key character in the crew that was a woman, like maybe Luffy's mom or something, just throwing that out there. Not saying it is. You know, there's a Croco mom theory, you know, or Crocodile being a woman. Maybe this was Crocodile. Let me stop, though. Let's get into the chapter, though. We got Sentomaru on the ground. You know, Lucci just did his finger pistol on Sentomaru. And it seems like Luffy is running towards, I don't know if he's running towards Lucci or if he's running to check on Sentomaru. But yeah, Sentomaru hits the ground, thud, and Luffy goes in for a battle axe. So I'm assuming he's going after Rob Lucci. We get a Oda quote. It says Sentomaru struck down. And then we see Luffy with the cartoon eyes popping out. And it says, "Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you." And then Sentomaru says, "Don't underestimate me. I saw his attack coming." Did he? It all happened so fast. You know, you want to notice that Sentomaru. So we kind of get like a little flashback of what happened when Lucci attacked Sentomaru. And Sentomaru says, "I thought, cough, I blocked it." And then we got Rob Lucci. He says, "You're tough, but I'll need you out of the picture. You outrank us in the command hierarchy." So Sentomaru is not down for the count just yet. Sentomaru is he's still alive. He's still in the game. So yeah, so Lucci and CP0 can't get command of the Seraphim just yet, because Sentomaru, and I just don't believe Sentomaru is going to die, right? I don't think Sentomaru is going to die. And as good of a plan that was of Rob Lucci to try to get rid of Sentomaru, it's a matter of, is he going to succeed? So far, he hasn't succeeded. He hasn't put Sentomaru down for the count yet. So, it's still going to be trouble for him. It's still going to be trouble for CP0. Rob Lucci says, as long as you're conscious, we can't use the Seraphim. So he doesn't have to kill him. He could just knock him out, right? So yeah, he doesn't have to kill Sentomaru. He just has to knock him out. But it's like, hey, you going to get knocked out, or you're going to die, one or the other, right? Got two choices, especially if we got to command the Seraphim. And then we see Luffy. I'm assuming he connected with Rob Lucci. It looked like he punches him across the face, and he says, "Gum gum, booming white." Now I'm not too sure what's going on, but it looked like Luffy's just spinning around in a very cartoonish way, and we get a translator note, and it says, "Kanji used means white, but the kana sounds like the classic Don sound effects used for grand moments. It can also sound like dawn." Okay. So it sounds like dawn. Like the sound effect sounds like dawn. All right. I think I get it. And then we see Luffy sending Rob Lucci flying, while Luffy's spinning around. We get Luffy spinning around. His arms look like they're spinning around him as well. So we see Rob Lucci get sent into some I don't know, it's some machine. He gets into a machine with a little glass dome on the top. And we see Luffy spinning around, and you see his eyes spinning. His eyes are spinning like a cartoon. And Luffy says, "Whoa, I can't slow down." Don't tell me this is going to be one of them things where Oda puts on Luffy to where it's now he's stuck in something. He's stuck in some motion. So now he's kind of hindered. Back when Luffy fought Arlong, and Luffy put his feet in the ground. Luffy was dominating Arlong, but then he put his feet in the ground, and then he was stuck. And then it was it gave Arlong an opportunity to take control of the battle. So if Luffy can't stop spinning, which I'm pretty sure he could stop spinning, but if it's one of them situations where he's stuck spinning, it could give Rob Lucci an opening. And Stussy screams, "Lucci!" And we see Chopper running away, and Luffy's spinning right behind Chopper and Jinbei. Jinbei's carrying Atlas. And Jinbei says, "Hurry, Luffy. We've got to get to Vegapunk fast if we have any hope of saving this kid." And Luffy is still spinning. He says, "I spun too hard. I can't stop." Bro, this is looking like one of them situations that's going to hinder Luffy, man. It's going to hinder Luffy. And Chopper says, "Huh? Where are you going, Luffy?" And we see Luffy like drilling down into the ground. Like he's like going down into the ground. And the workers, the Egghead Island workers are all running. They says, "Take shelter in the factory." So we got the Mihawk Seraphim, S Hawk. He's attacking the Cypher Po agents, like the fodder Cypher Po agents. And we also see Jinbei, who's, or not Jinbei, but S Shark. I said S Fish, S Shark. He's manipulating the ground to like throw off all the, like he's throwing off some of the Cypher Po agents as well. We've never seen this ability used to this extent. Like, did Senior Pink do this? Like, actually move the ground around? Like, I don't think we've seen that from Senior Pink. Because I always thought it was a situation. I gotta make sure that's S Shark and not like one of the other Seraphim. Yeah, I think it definitely is S Shark. He's like moving the ground around, kind of like Katakuri was able to manipulate the ceiling in the mirror world and turn it into like a, like, you know, like it looked like pudding or something, like mochi, right? He turned the ceiling into mochi and was able to mold it, and then like he used that to bury Luffy at that point. That's kind of like what the S Shark is doing, but he's doing it to the floor, and he's like throwing the Cypher Po agents around. So we've never, I don't remember ever seeing Senior Pink use his abilities to that level. So maybe Seraphim master devil fruits at a faster rate than people. You know what I mean? So maybe S Shark is just better at using his devil fruit abilities at this point in time than Senior Pink was when he learned, you know, like, or when he was fighting Frankie, you know. So yeah, but that's dope though. That's dope that he's able to do that. Or maybe it's a fact that S Shark is like a fishman, right? Kind of like Jinbei. So not only can he liquefy the ground and swim in it, he can also manipulate, kind of like fishermen can manipulate water. He can manipulate the ground like it is water as well. So maybe S Shark's fishman karate abilities is what allows him to manipulate the ground at this level. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's why Senior Pink couldn't do all this stuff, because it's just because he's not a fisherman. So he can't manipulate water or like liquefied ground to the level that somebody like Jinbei could. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm assuming. Kaku says they're unstoppable, and if that isn't bad enough, we'd still lose if we found a way to destroy them. It's even, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Even if they destroy them, they'll lose. Maybe when he says they'll lose, I'm assuming he means like they'll be punished by the world government. So that's kind of a loss. You know, I don't know what he means by like how they will lose even if they destroy him. Unless he means like he can't beat Luffy, which, you know, come on now. They did Gear 5th, Sun God Nika Luffy. Yeah, I don't think y'all beating them. So you're right, Kaku, you're right. Stussy says it's even more terrifying when you remember they're still just children. That's true. That is true. I'm assuming this is Frankie yelling. He says, Vegapunk, that's the power I'm talking about. The one the shrimpy version of Jinbei is using. It's the swim fruit, right? That power belongs to Senior Pink, my sworn brother from the Don Quixote family. Only one person can have a fruit power at a time. So did he bite the dust? That is what I'm talking about. We got Frankie asking the real... Bro, Frankie's been asking some good questions like this whole arc. Like, he's been asking the questions I think everybody, at least me, I can only speak for myself. Well, so when I say everybody, I'm talking about myself. He's been asking the questions everybody wants to know. You know what I mean? And hasn't been getting any answers. I want to know the same thing. Where did Seraphim get these abilities? You know, because I don't think Senior Pink is dead. So, you know, but he makes a good point. You know, I believe Momonosuke, since he had like the same devil fruit as Kaido, except it's artificial, and it was created by Vegapunk. It already shows me that Vegapunk knows how to recreate devil fruits. So, you know, I'm assuming he recreated or took the DNA from the devil fruits and extracted and put it into the Seraphim. You know, like that's what I'm assuming. So yeah, I don't believe Senior Pink bit the dust. But we got, Vegapunk is speaking. I'm assuming it's Vegapunk, not Pythagoras. He says, so you notice, that man is currently an inmate at Impel Down. And then Frankie says, huh? Wait, are you saying you made a copy of his fruit? And then Vegapunk says, so far it's only been possible to manufacture zone fruits artificially. That is true. That is true. But I don't see why you couldn't create. See, that's the small devil fruits. Small devil fruits, I think, are super limiting. You know, like I think because Caesar makes the small devil fruits, and he can. I'm assuming his method of creating devil fruits, he can only use zone devil fruits or like the small devil fruits based on animals, because you could extract animal DNA. He doesn't know how to recreate devil fruits the same way Vegapunk does. Like Vegapunk probably could recreate any devil fruit, I assume. And Vegapunk continues, there's also Caesar's smile fruit method. However, I consider that unacceptable. I was just talking about Caesar too. And then Nami says, yeah, he could die 1,000 deaths and it wouldn't be enough. Hey, bro, y'all gotta leave Caesar alone, man. Caesar done turned a new leaf and everything. Maybe not. I don't know. But, you know, Caesar seemed like he was coming around at the end of Whole Cake Island, you know, and he wanted to stick with the Straw Hats. Vegapunk says, I'm fairly certain that with unlimited resources, even special types of devil fruits can be recreated. However, I have yet to confirm whether such synthesized fruits can be awakened. Okay, see, I would think that creating an artificial devil fruit, it's lacking something, right? It's lacking something. And it kind of feeds into my idea that devil fruits came from people, like actual living people that created these abilities. And what I would assume awakens a devil fruit is the fact that the devil fruit has like a will and possibly a soul. So you're like awakening the soul, like it's the soul that's awakening of the devil fruit, you know. But that's one of them topics for another discussion, you know. Vegapunk says, I tried my hand at Logias, but they were trickier than expected. There's an alternative for Promethea types. I found you can synthesize a blood additive from a Promethea user's lineage factor that will grant their power once transfused. So now we getting a little more about the like recreating devil fruits. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So Logias are a little trickier, right? He didn't say he didn't say he couldn't do it. He just said they're trickier than expected, meaning he's done it. You know, it's just tricky. And then he says with Promethea types, he says, I found you can synthesize a blood additive from the Promethea user's lineage factor that will grant their power once transfused. That's what you see running through their arms. Oh, okay. Yo, I seen somebody post a video about their arms, like Elids. It was Elids. He posted something about their arms, and it wasn't a spoiler because it was shown in a previous chapter. He was showing like Jinbei's arm, and it had something going through it. So yeah, but now we're getting into the thick of things. The thick of things. So Vegapunk continues, I call it green blood. And then Frankie says, you're telling me you created blood? Yeah. Yeah. That's what he's telling you. And then we see the Boa Seraphim S Snake, and she says, love, love, mellow. And she's turning the CP agents into stone. So it's confirmed now that S Snake, aka the Boa Hancock Seraphim, does have Boa's devil fruit abilities. So it's seeming like they all got devil fruit abilities. We haven't seen S-Hawk yet, though. Yeah, we haven't seen S-Hawk yet. S-Hawk is just using his sword like Mihawk. So, yeah. But if Jinbei, if S Shark has a devil fruit ability, and we know Jinbei doesn't have a devil fruit ability, and S Shark is a clone of Jinbei, why wouldn't S Hawk either? You know, why wouldn't S Hawk? And I'm super curious as to what devil fruit ability S Hawk may have. But yeah, Boa S Snake does have a devil fruit ability. So Vegapunk continues, the Seraphim are the culmination of my ideas. And we see S Bear, aka the Kuma Seraphim, he's using Ursus Shock. So that's that move, if I remember correctly. That's the one where Kuma takes air, compacts it, and then turns it to like a bomb, you know. And Vegapunk continues, the peak of what our science can accomplish, they may very well go down as the most powerful beings in the history of the sea. Also, when the title said the most powerful beings, he's talking about the Seraphim. Bro, that is a scary thought right there. That is scary because the Seraphim belongs to the world government. So once the world government takes control of these Seraphim, because I believe they will, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be kind of pointless. It would be kind of stupid. The world government, they got rid of the Shichibukai for the Seraphim, right? And then they can't even use the Seraphim because the Seraphim are with Vegapunk and his people. And Vegapunk is the ally of Straw Hat Luffy. So that would kind of put a wrench in the whole world government plan if they don't leave with these Seraphim. But damn, as the most powerful beings in the history of the sea. Okay. And Nami says, so that's why the warlord system was abolished. Do you have any idea what you've let loose, says Usopp. Right? Right? Vegapunk just did a disservice to the world. Come on now. Sanji says, so they're basically just Navy weapons. And Robin says, yes, and they pose a huge threat to us. You damn right. You are damn, and you gotta see how strong they are now. Kind of like what Stussy said. They're just children. They're just children right now, and they're this strong. So all right, so we see that explosion that Rob Lucci made. Well, Luffy, you know, made when sending Rob Lucci flying into some machine. And we got one of the lab workers. They said, Sentomaru, sir, are you still breathing? Please fall back. And then Rob Lucci comes out of the wall, kind of like that. It's like a silhouette in the wall of that machine that he made. His body made, kind of like when you see cartoons and they fall in the ground and leave like an outline of their body in the ground. Same thing with Rob Lucci. And Rob Lucci gets out relatively unfazed. He's cracking his neck, you know, loosening up. And we see Rob Lucci like smiling, and it seems like he's going, it seemed like he's looking at Sentomaru, because Sentomaru is looking, and we see Rob Lucci use shave. I'm assuming he's going towards Rob or Sentomaru, and Sentomaru seems to be trying to defend himself. He seems like he's trying to defend himself, but we see Luffy come out of the ground. Yo, this man Luffy comes out of the ground. He has like this big ass head coming out of the ground while Rob Lucci is running towards Sentomaru. And he says, "Da ha 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 ha," like one of them villainous laughs. Bruh, this man Luffy. This man, it might be a dog walk for Rob Lucci. I'm sorry, bro. I hate to see it, man. I hate to see it, but you dealing with Gear 5th awakened Luffy, right? And it's like, bro, this is the same guy who beat Kaido. Be it there was a lot of variables in that fight, but at the end of the day, Luffy still came out with a victory at the end of that fight. And unlike Luffy getting defeated and constantly coming back, we didn't see Kaido come back. I hate to say it, man, but you gotta call it for what it is. Joy Boy says, Wally Coyote style. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Rob Lucci says Straw Hat. So, you know, he notices last minute and he manages to evade Straw Hat Luffy's attack. And it's like Luffy came and tried to chomp down and eat. Was he trying to eat Rob Lucci? Come on now. Come on, Luffy. Trying to eat Rob Lucci. But he bites down into the ground, and Rob Lucci like skywalks into the air, and Luffy looks back at Rob Lucci, and he like smacks his cheeks and starts spitting out like the rocks that he took a bit out from the ground. He's like spitting these rocks at Rob Lucci, and Rob Lucci is like he's punching the rocks with what looks to be armament hockey, but you know, CP, like the CP agents call it, so he's probably using Rokushiki, right? He's probably using that, but you know, you can make an argument that Rokushiki is hockey, you know what I mean? And I think I think a recent episode in the anime kind of, even though the anime is not always necessarily canon, some they add stuff, but that fight with Jinbei in Who's Who when he used Iron Body, his body turned black like it was armament hockey. Like back in the day in Enies Lobby when he was first introduced to the Rokushiki techniques and stuff, the 7 style. I want to say it was like 7 style, 6 or 7. I don't remember how many of them. Iron Body was never like black. It was just, it was just they hardened their body and it didn't change color. But now in the anime when they use Iron Body, it turned black. So maybe that's kind of like, I would think maybe Oda approved that. Maybe Oda wanted that to showcase it. And if that's what Oda wanted, maybe that's Oda's way of saying that, yes, Iron Body is a technique of hockey, armament hockey specifically. But yeah, so we see Lucci he's using what seems to be armament hockey. And then we got Luffy in the air. It looked like he's using a tube, like a tube in the lab, right? Like one of them tubes that look like you could like transport people. Kind of like the if you guys ever watch the Jetsons, they get around in these tubes. So it's kind of like a tube like that. And he's using that tube as like a WWE ring rope. You know those ropes that they got surrounding the rings on when you watch like a like wrestling or boxing fight. It's like one of them type of ropes where you could like bounce off it, rebound, and then go and then move forward. It's like one of them type. Like he's using the tube as a rope, and we know that Luffy can rubberize things in Gear 5, and so he's using that as a rope to slingshot himself back at Rob Lucci. Hold on. What? Did this man Luffy turn his hair into goggles? Because I don't recall Luffy wearing goggles before this. But it's like he turns his hair into goggles. Like while it's in his hair, we see him grab something, right? It looked like it's like it's like a handful of hair. He turns it into goggles and puts it on. And then he bounces right at Rob Lucci with a booming white rocket. And he catches Rob Lucci right in the chest. You even see Luffy's body pretty much what I assume to be, or no, maybe it's a punch. Is that a punch? I'm assuming Luffy's sending himself with a punch, and he's like leaving like a dent that's coming out the back of Rob Lucci's body. Rob Lucci is thinking to himself, what insane power. Coughing up blood. And we got Monkey D. Luffy laughing. Said, hey, yeah. And Rob Lucci is still thinking to himself, I'm losing consciousness. Can't hold on. Okay, so is Rob Lucci about to go down? Chopper and Jinbei are running away. And Chopper says, somebody say, hurry, this way. So we see S Snake pointing at something, and she says the vacuum rocket is waiting. Hurry and get on. Okay, so it's the vacuum rocket tube. So maybe the vacuum rocket is like that tube that that Luffy used as like a WWE ring rope, maybe that is the tube that sends you. It's like the vacuum rocket tube, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We had to see. We had to see. And then we see Jinbei. He says, "You have my gratitude. It's nice to see such a kind version of you, Hancock." Yo, so Jinbei must have had some bad experiences with Hancock. Maybe not bad, but maybe it's like he was just around her and she was just super naggy or you know, just bad attitude, right? Like, because we know Boa is just, she's super conceited and just, she's like a narcissist, right? So she just has a bad attitude in general to anybody not named Luffy or her sisters, right? Like her sister, she's nice to. She's nice. Well, she's nice to her people, I would think, to a degree possibly, but she's nice to Luffy, you know, and she's nice to Rayleigh as well. She's nice to Rayleigh. And then S Snake Boa says, You insolent dummy, I'm just following orders." And then it says T-1 minute to take off. Chopper says, "Hey Luffy, hurry up." All right. So I think someone's talking over like a loudspeaker, and they say, "Please refrain from trying to board last minute." And then we got Sentomaru. He says, "Straw Hat, I'm trusting you with Grandpa Punk." And he's pointing at the thing. So, okay, so it's looking like Luffy's not, like this fight's not going to last much longer. Luffy is going to have to leave. So he's not going to be able to finish. But Rob Lucci was looking like he was about to pass out. So Lucci might pass out, and then Lucci might pass out and Luffy might leave. So that still leaves Kaku and Stussy up, like active, right? Sentomaru is going to be in trouble because then that means they could just finish off Sentomaru and get control of the Seraphim. So I don't know if Luffy should leave, because then he leaves Sentomaru vulnerable, and that means that can leave the Seraphim vulnerable to be taken over by the world government, by the CP0. I don't know if that's a good idea. I'm just saying. And then Luffy says, "You got it. I'll get him off this island no matter what." And then it says, "Preparing for takeoff." So, oh, okay. When he said, "I'll get him off the island no matter what," I thought he was talking about Lucci. He means Vegapunk. He means Vegapunk. And so my question is, are they going to leave before Kizaru get there? Unless Kizaru shows up at the end of this chapter. So maybe I need to wait to ask that question. But I'm like, bro, are they going to escape before Kizaru gets to the island? Or is Kizaru going to show up right before they... Because then this would be like this would be the third arc that Luffy is trying to escape with Kizaru on the same island, right? The first being Sabaody. Like they had to escape Kizaru because he was just too much for him. Second one being Marineford, where Luffy was like on death's door, but Kizaru was still chasing him. And then we get this third one where, does Kizaru manage to intercept Luffy before they can get off the island? That's the question, you know. And next we see Luffy in the rocket thing, the rocket tube or whatever. And so we're seeing the drawbacks of this gear fifth form, because Luffy got like that old dying look, like where he's just super pale. And you're like, his face is just like sinking, his tongue just has no feeling or whatever. And Jory Bonnie has finally woken up. We got Jinbei Chopper in his Kung Fu point. Vegapunk Atlas behind Jinbei. And Chopper says, wow, it's so fast. Jinbei says, incredible. And then we see Jory Bonnie woken up. She says, huh? Where are we? Where's Vegapunk? And one of them says, you've come to. Stay calm. We're on the vacuum rocket. That might be Jinbei talking. And Jory Bonnie's looking at Luffy confused, and she says, and who the hell is this supposed to be? Luffy do look hella different though. And Jinbei says, it's a long story. That's Luffy. But let's save the explanations for later. So we got Vegapunk talking over the speaker. He says, the approximate journey time from the Fabrio Stratum to the Labo Stratum is 32 seconds. Bro, Luffy face, bro. Yo, Luffy face, man. Luffy face, man. Yo, hold on. I always show it. So yeah, so it's this tube, right? So yeah, they do use those tubes I was talking about. The tube that he like used as like a WWE rope. Yeah, that's the tube. That's the rocket thing. And so, bam, they make it to the lab. They make it to inside the lab, and it says, we have reached your destination. So I don't think that's Vegapunk talking. I think that's like the you know how you go to like you're on a train and then it has like a voice on the intercom, like a recording on the intercom saying like, next stop is whatever. That's kind of what this is. It's like a voice recorded over an intercom. And they say so quick. And it says all subsequent flights have been canceled. The Frontier Dome has been fortified. Intruders have infiltrated. Be on high alert. To all lab workers, please remember to barricade the factory shelters properly. So yeah, so they're trying to shut this whole thing down so CP0 can't get in. It might be Kaku talking. I don't know which one's talking. It says, you have to hand it to him. Vegapunk couldn't ask for a better bodyguard. Hey, bro. Yeah, Sentomaru held it down, bro. Sentomaru held it down. And they said, this is real petty, Sentomaru. Our orders are to wait for the Marines, says Stussy. And then Lucci says, if we wait too long, they'll get away. And we cut back to the lab. And I'm guessing this is Usopp talking. He says, they seriously want you dead. Isn't that a waste for the government? You're the smartest man in the world. And would you rest easy if you thought such intellect may turn against you? Not that I ever intended to do so, mind you. I'm not sure who was talking right there, but somebody's talking. And now we're inside the lab and we see Usopp talking. Or I think Nami says, oh yeah, I suppose it would make sense to snuff out a potential liability like you. And then Usopp says, how can you talk about snuffing someone out like that? Also, Usopp is talking to Nami. So Nami's talking all this blah, blah, blah. And Usopp's like, hey, how can you talk about killing this guy? And then Vegapunk says, an Emperor's crew showing up just as things come to a head with a serendipitous twist of fate. Yeah. Plot right there. That's plot. They would happen to want to kill Vegapunk when the Straw Hats show up the Egghead. Makes sense. Or Usopp says, so you really want to come aboard our ship? And then Nami says, talk about heavy cargo. And then Frankie says, I'm all for it. I'll show you General Frankie in the Sunny. And then Sanji says, are you ever going to unbind our feet, you senile geezer? Dang, their feet are still bind to the thing. And now we got Luffy, Jory Bonnie, and Chopper all walking away from the little rocket thing while Jinbei grabs Atlas. And Luffy says, wow, where are we? And then Jinbei says, or is this Chopper talking? Jinbei says, quick, Dr. Atlas needs medical attention and repairs. And Jinbei says, we'll leave her to you. So I think somebody's going to be taking care of Atlas. I think I see somebody right by Atlas's. Oh, okay. So whoever that is by Atlas's body, they're the one who says, quick, Dr. Atlas needs medical attention and repairs. And then Chopper says, where are you going, Bonnie? And then Jory Bonnie says, I'm going to make Vegapunk turn my dad back to normal. If he refuses, he's a dead man. And then I'm assuming this might be Chopper. He says, remind me to never make you angry. So then we cut to CP0, and they finally have control of all the Seraphim. Just not looking too good. They got back the so pretty much that's how the world government got the Seraphim back. Luffy was like, hey, I'm about to bail. And he bailed, stopped fighting Lucci. They left Sentomaru there just to be taken care of. And now, since Sentomaru is finally passed out or dead or whatever, I doubt he's dead. That leaves CP0 room to take control of the Seraphim. Now, I think it would be smart for CP0 to take away the Seraphim, get him away from Vegapunk, because if Vegapunk shows up, he can give the order to be like, hey, like, and a lot of people saying, well, if Vegapunk comes out, he'll be vulnerable. Vegapunk will also have protection from the Straw Hats. So while they're protecting him, all Vegapunk has to do is just give the Seraphim the order to turn against CP0. But, you know, I don't know if that's going to happen. The Straw Hats look like they try to make their escape. And CP0 says block off every exit. And the other agent says Roger. And Lucci says there are 6 Vegapunks left, including the real one. Yeah, but that defense system of theirs sure is a tough nut to crack, says Kaku. And then Lucci says, I don't care. I won't let a single one of those rats scurry off the island. Man, things getting tough. I see something. I see something that just made me super excited. I seen something that made me excited. And then we see a transition, and we see some Marine ships, and somebody says, oh my. So the Straw Hat crew has allied itself with Vegapunk. And then we see my man's Kizaru show up. It says, oh, paper that should make for a straightforward escape. Or on paper, that should make for a straightforward escape. My man Kizaru said, on paper, that should make for a straightforward escape. But since I'm here, since me, the yellow one, he says, but boy, are they in for a surprise. They think it'll be easy. We'll proceed as planned. Get as many warships as possible to Egghead. The might of Navy HQ draws near. Chapter 1070 end. be a One Piece fan. It is a good time to be a it's a good time to be a Kizaru fans myself. Bro, Kizaru has entered the chat and he told him this is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. They got to deal with CP0. They have to deal with the Seraphim. They have to deal with all these naval ships coming up. They got to deal with Kizaru. How do the Straw Hats make it out intact? How do they make it out intact? So we get the whole Rob Lucci versus Luffy, Gear 5th Luffy versus Awakened Rob Lucci. Luffy pretty much, I would say, had control of the fight. You know, I don't think at any point Lucci looked like he could beat Luffy. You know, matter of fact, Luffy seemed like he was just playing around, you know, for the most part. He was pretty just having fun, like, you know, we seen Gear 5th do. And Luffy managed to pretty much just punch Lucci, and that was just like, it was not even like a finishing punch. It wasn't like how he finished off Kaido or anything. It was just like a gut punch. He just gave him a nice little rocket gut punch, and that seemed to have finished off Lucci, because at that point Lucci was starting to phase out. He was starting to become unconscious. We didn't see him pass out, but because at that point, since tomorrow was like, hey, Luffy, you gotta go. Just go protect Vegapunk. Go protect Grandpa Vegapunk. I appreciate that. And Luffy was like, okay, all right, I promise you I'll get him off this island. And so they get on the rocket thing and they take Atlas with them. Jory Bonnie, of course, they get on it, shoot to the lab, and we see at the lab Nami sitting here playing like, maybe we should just get rid of you, Vegapunk, because you seem more of a nuisance. And Usopp's like, bro, you can't be saying that. You can't be saying that. We also get a little bit about, we get Vegapunk explaining more about artificial devil fruits. He talks about Caesar's smile fruits. He was like, I don't really like it. You know, I don't really like that thing. I don't like his method. It's just not, it's not prior. It's not, it doesn't finesse. It's not like me. You know, I make my devil fruits nice. His is just crap. It's pretty much crappy, right? It's pretty much crappy. And he talks more about like Logia devil fruits being a little difficult to replicate. He says something about Promethea. You just need to get like you gotta get something from what do he say? You need something from the user in order to replicate the Promethea. You need like their bloodline element. Something about their bloodline element you need from the user in order to replicate Prometheus. Zones, I think, might be a little easier. Zones might be the easiest, right? Because they're kind of based on like the animals, right? You just get the animal DNA and all that stuff. So we learned that Vegapunk says Logias are tricky, but from how it sounded when it comes to Logias, it still sounds like Vegapunk could still replicate Logias. It's just tricky. Sound like he'd done it before. It was just tricky. Promethea, he seems to have that down. And zones seem like they might be the easiest, especially since Caesar is able to kind of create zones himself, but he can't create Prometheas or Logias. So I would think zones might be the easiest types of devil fruits to replicate. But yeah, we get Vegapunk talk a little bit about artificial devil fruits, which was good. And Luffy's group, they managed to make it to the lab in like a couple seconds, like 32 seconds or something, quick as hell on that little rocket thing. Vegapunk locks down the lab, and CP0 is pretty much planning on making an assault on Egghead Island. And as they're planning to make this assault, Kizaru shows up. Kizaru shows up to say, hey, I'm here. It ain't gonna be an easy escape for the Straw Hats, not this time. Kizaru he failed at capturing Luffy too much to fail again. That's what I think. I think Kizaru is tired of letting Luffy manage to slip away. But we know he's not capturing Luffy. He's not gonna capture Luffy. I don't think so. So this is gonna be another failure. Unless they get a full-on fight, but I don't know if Luffy gonna fight Kizaru. But if he does, I'm pretty excited about that. I also kind of want to I want to talk about the cover page as well. I kind of skipped the cover page. We got the Mads Science Group, right? We seen Vegapunk, we seen Caesar. We also seen what looks to be Judge. What I think might be Judge, and then there was a fourth guy who I assume might be Queen. He might be Queen. He don't look too much like Queen. You know, there's certain characteristics about him that makes me think he could be Queen. Kind of like he has black and white striped pants. We know Queen wears like a black and white striped suspenders thing. He has long hair, which we see Queen has long hair as well, but his is in a ponytail. So maybe at this time Queen was wearing his hair out. He also has glasses, even though the glasses he got on here are different from the glasses that Queen wears. We never seen Queen without glasses though. And this guy has glasses as well. So the black lips, Queen also has black lips. So, I mean, now if this guy would have had a cigar, I think it would have been more convincing. So, but I don't know who that is. I'm just taking it as that might possibly be Queen. But you guys let me know who y'all think that is, if it's not Queen. There's also a woman who looks oddly placed, right? She's among the she's not in the back with the other irrelevant scientists. She's in the forefront right next to Judge. Who that might be, you know, I don't know. Stussy seems like she could have a deeper connection with Vegapunk, right? So maybe that was Stussy a long time ago, even though Stussy seems pretty young. So I don't know if she's old enough to have been with Mads. The woman is right next to who I assume to be Judge. So it could be Judge's wife, possibly. Like maybe Judge met Sanji's mom back during the Mads time. So I don't know. I don't know who that is, but it's interesting. You know, I'm curious. Y'all let me know who you guys think each of those characters are. I think Vegapunk and Caesar are the more obvious ones. Judge is probably like I think that might be Judge. It looks like Judge. We never seen Judge without his mask, so this might be the first official Judge reveal, right? And based on if that is Judge, he does have swirly eyebrows, but they're more like I want to say I'm trying to think who got those type of eyebrows, like Jinbei maybe, or maybe the S Shark. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who has those eyebrows, but yeah. Yeah. I'm assuming that's Judge though. I'm assuming that's Judge. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much the chapter for today. Great chapter. Great chapter. Kizaru showed up. We got some Rob Lucci versus Lucci. We got a cover spread with Mads, the full Mads team, right? Yeah, we also know that Luffy is going to be escaping with Vegapunk. I don't know if he's going to escape with all the satellites, but the Vegapunk Stella, he's definitely going to be leaving with. And we got to see what happens next, guys. How does the world government, the Marines, the CP0 all, take on the Straw Hats. How do the Straw Hats get out of this situation? But anyway, y'all, that's all I got. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Also, follow me on Twitch so you can engage with me in real time, and we can have these discussions. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook if you want to contact me directly, and join the Discord. Come be a part of my community. It is the best place to be, to send me content to react to. It's the best place to engage with me. That's where I'm usually the most active at. And if you want to if you want to become part of a future stream, make sure you're part of the Discord. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and now I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.